Hello and welcome back to Pennyhill Junction. Yes, it's been a number of months since I last posted any videos on YouTube, and it's been even longer than that since I last posted an update on the actual layout progress. It was back in spring of this year that I started my Building the Heritage Station series, and I actually only managed to complete part one of that series until progress on the layout pretty much halted all through the summer months and into autumn. There was a number of videos that I did post throughout the summer months with regards to stock additions, so continuing with my Meet the Fleet series, plus I did a video on the CDA, the China Clay wagons that I purchased for my Gwr Class 66. So I thought I'd take the opportunity in this video to give a little bit of a recap in terms of what's happened, or say what hasn't happened in 2020 over the last several months. The majority of this year, really, I say progress has been very slow on the layout. But you'll see from behind me, there are some back scenes that have appeared. My intention at the sort of late spring, early part of the summer, when I started constructing those back scenes, which separate the main layout from the fiddle yard and also provide a backdrop for the heritage station. So when I started those back scenes, as I say, I think it was late spring, early summer months I started those. I did start to put together a video explaining the process of doing that, going through that build, but I say things just got in the way and the video never materialized. So I still have got that footage, and I may release that at some point when I actually conclude that section of work as a part 2 of the Build the Heritage Station series. But I thought today, as it's been such a long time since I did any type of update, I'll just bring you guys all up to speed on where I'm at currently, obviously what's been going on over the past year, and also what I'm looking ahead to in terms of 2021. So let's make a start then by explaining why I guess the progress on the layout in particular has been so slow this year. So like most of us, it's been an awful year for obvious reasons. Obviously I'm not going to go into that in too much detail on this video. I started the year, as many of you may know, I'd had some health issues of my own, where I had a chronic cough, which developed into a chest infection. Obviously not a great time to have a chronic cough, but the cough, although I managed to sort of get it under control for the sort of spring and summer months, never really went away, and even of late it's still been sort of rearing its ugly head again. I have of course had COVID tests just to be sure it's not COVID related. Pleased to say they come back negative, but I say the cough is still lingering, and that's I'm grateful of the benefit of video editing. So when I do have to stop at periods to take a few deep breaths and to clear my throat, unfortunately you guys won't have to see any of that, but anyway, so at the moment, I would like to feel coming into Christmas that I'm in reasonably good health. The good thing is I'm making positive progress in terms of I'm now seeing an ear, nose and throat specialist, and taking some treatment and medication over the next several weeks, which I hope will make some progress towards putting this to bed once and for all. But anyway, in addition to that, work over the last year has been extremely busy and extremely stressful. Some of that has been contributed by COVID-19, putting a lot of pressure on myself and my team. However, I have to be thankful that I've remained in employment throughout this period. And my job obviously hasn't been at risk, despite the fact it's been a very sort of busy and stressful time. I know that there are many others out there who have had a dreadful time in terms of obviously losing employment, and particularly this time of year, a real sort of struggle, trying to potentially put food on the table for Christmas and get presents for sort of family, loved ones, etc. So I'm not gonna obviously grumble too much about the fact that I've had a sort of busy and stressful year at work, because I'm very fortunate to have obviously remained in employment throughout the year when so many others have obviously suffered as a result of this pandemic. But what that has meant, by being so sort of busy at work, is it's taken a lot of my sort of time and attention away from the layout, and I've often found that just in the evenings I'm just obviously so worn out after a difficult day at work, that I've just got no interest, no motivation whatsoever to come up here and do anything on the layout. However, I'm now starting to find that I'm getting a little bit of time back again, rediscovering that motivation, that mojo for the layout. So I have been coming back up here a bit more recently. It's probably been aided by the fact that I've had some sort of new additions to the Pennyhill Junction fleet. As you can see, the most recent one's just behind me here, which is 2 of the recent Hornby Class 50s in the GBRF livery, the controversial GBRF livery. But anyway, I won't go into that. I've already had a number of interesting conversations with individuals on social media with regards to the livery application of these GBRF 50s, and I think I'm in agreement with the majority that Hornby unfortunately have applied this livery sort of more of a lighter blue than perhaps the prototype is. So moving on then, and on the subject of new stock, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I've been doing a number of Meet the Fleet videos throughout the year. I have had some additional stock since my last Meet the Fleet video was published. Again, I just haven't had the motivation or the time really to sort of do any more videos. And I'm considering as well whether the Meet the Fleet videos are worth continuing. They're not sort of seen as popular videos in terms of viewing figures, but the comments I do receive are quite positive. So if you are interested in seeing more of the Meet the Fleet videos in the format that I currently do them, or if you can suggest a different way of presenting those Meet the Fleet videos, then obviously I'm open to ideas. I have got some stock that I could do some future videos, which I'm going to come on to shortly. So in terms of new stock in 2020, I think the first purchase I got for the year was a bit of a sort of out of the blue purchase, not something I had planned, but it was on offer at Colonel Motherwell Rail Centre, so I decided I'd grab it, and that was the EWS livery with the DBS branding, class 66, that's 66065. That's the Bachmann class 66. I think these normally retail between sort of £150, £160 as DCC ready. This one was going for about £108 at the time, so just had to snap that up. And I'm glad I did, because I say it's a fantastic model, fantastic addition to the fleet. But that ended up being actually a costly purchase, because a couple of months later, in addition to the class 66 which I purchased, I then ended up buying a rake of 14 of the brand new Hornby CDA wagons with the DB livery. So as you can imagine, 14 of those wagons is probably about 3 times the cost of that Bachmann 66. So what I made in a saving, I probably tenfold went over that on the purchase of the wagons. But still, I'd say it's I'm sure you've seen the videos. I say it's a great loco, putting a great rake of wagons, and I'm looking forward to it sometime in the future weathering those up as a separate project. And the next arrival at Pennyhill was the Gwr Class 158. Again, that's another Bachmann model, the long-awaited Class 158, and it certainly didn't disappoint. I have to say, of all the models I've purchased this year, I think that probably has to be up there as number one, fantastically detailed model, superb runner, yeah, and just a fantastic addition to the layout, and say it suits this Great Western Riviera line layout to a T. The next addition was a birthday present that came in May. That was a gift from my wife. That was the Hornby Class 50, and that's 50010, and that's Monarch in BR blue. So this is a modern layout, and I know that Monarch was disposed of a number of years ago, but yeah, at some point I may consider maybe doing a renumbering on that and renaming. But for now, that sits proudly in the Heritage Station, in that, obviously that BR blue livery. Makes a nice addition to the Heritage Station, so I may keep it as it is. I'm not overly concerned if it's sort of prototypical of a modern day heritage line, given that particular loco no longer exists. But as I say, it's a lovely model, so I may sort of just keep it as it is. Moving on then, so next up was a couple of Hst arrivals within a space of about sort of a month or two from each other, so expensive couple of months they were. So there was the Hornby First and Last Hst set, which included obviously 43002 Sir Kenneth Grange, which was a representation of the obviously the first Hst built, and also the last. And those two power cars would form obviously the farewell tour on the Great Western Main Line, the last Hst out of Paddington. In addition to that, I also had on pre-order the Hornby Cross Country Hsts, which arrived shortly after. A couple of months prior to that, I received the new Hornby Mark III sliding door stock. So there's 4 of the Great Western Railway green livery coaches, which would form a GWR Hst Castle set. And I also got 7 of the cross-country sliding door sets to make a prototypical rake, again, of a cross-country set, which you regularly see down on the Great Western Main Line, particularly down in the southwest on the Riviera line, obviously, which I'm modelling currently. So next up, which you probably wouldn't have seen unless you follow me on sort of Twitter, social media platforms, and Facebook, for example, was my first steam engine to arrive at Pennyhill, obviously for the Heritage line, and that was the Bachmann Pannier L92 in the London Transport livery. As you may know, the Heritage Station I'm constructing is going to be a loose representation of Buckfastleigh on the South Devon Railway, and that is where L92 currently resides. So as soon as I saw that kind of available, that was a must really for this Heritage Station. And then finally, as I mentioned a little earlier on, there's the 2 Class 50s behind me. So that's 50049 and I believe, yes, so 50049 and 50014, and on the other side of it is 50007. So it's 50049 is Defiance, and you've got 50014, which is Warspite, and on the other side 50007 is Hercules. So the reason I got these, again, a modern layout, so after getting the Class 50 earlier in the year for the Heritage line, so fell in love with the model straight away, saw these two, got them on pre-order, and so they're very sort of fitting in terms of the modern era that I represent on the main line of the layout. And also, as many recall, last year there was the Class 50 Terminator Phoenix rail tour, which actually went down the southwest and down through the Riviera line right down to Penzance, carrying obviously a number of Mark I coaches. And the objective of getting these is to represent that rail tour. So in the new year, one of my plans will be to purchase a full rake of the Mark 1 coaches. Obviously a loose representation of what was used on that particular day, and then if possible see if I can get a custom made headboard for the front of the logo, again, which represents that Terminator Phoenix tour from last year. Okay, so moving on then in terms of the 2020 recap. So I've gone through all the stock that's been added to Pennyhill over this past year. So now let's move on to actual layout progress. So as I said at the beginning of the video, obviously with all my attention elsewhere, there hasn't been a great deal of progress on the layout, particularly in the last several months. So it did start off, the year did start off with some decent progress. As I mentioned, there was the Heritage Station build part 1, where I presented the sort of track work for the Heritage Station. That was completed, and as I mentioned, part 2 was going to be the construction of the back scenes. So I'm 2/3 of the way through the construction of the back scenes. As I said, you can see the back scenes behind me, and as I say, I will at some point endeavour, when I complete the construction of the back scene, right across obviously the length of the fiddle yard, which then obviously divides the fiddle yard from the main layout. Once I have that completed, I will do my best to release a video which gives you an overview of how that was constructed. So in addition to the back scenes behind me, I will put a couple of images up, so it's literally just in that direction there. I'm not going to rotate the camera, but I'll put some images on the screen. So just in that direction over there is the start of the back scene from the main layout as well. So this area here is actually the area I'm going to focus on in the new year, which I'll come on to in just a moment in a bit more detail. But with regards to the 2020 recap, as I say, the year started out with me putting down the track work for the Heritage Station. That is complete. I'm 2/3 of the way through constructing the back scene boards for the Heritage Station. So I've just got about 1/3 of that to complete down at the opposite end of the layout. And as I mentioned, there's back scenes now on the east end of the layout. I did have a back scene there previously, but I've ripped that out, and it's now more in keeping with what I'm trying to build here at Pennyhill. The previous back scene was from the version 1 of Pennyhill, which actually started construction back in January of 2017. Almost 4 years ago. Wow, that's gone quick. Anyway, so moving on then to 2021 and what my plans are. So one thing you'll probably notice is some of the baseboard here has gone a nice sort of earthy brown colour. You still see there's a little bit of the grey here. The reason I've made a start in painting some of this baseboard in the brown colour is because my first project of 2020 will be to work on my first scenic area of the layout. I mean, this channel has been going, as I say, since January 2017. In a sense, I've built 2 layouts in terms of the track work, but I've never really progressed anywhere with scenery, and I'm determined in the first quarter of 2021 to get some scenery down. So I've already made a start in sort of purchasing some scenic items, which I've got in front of me here. So a variety from the Woodland Scenics range. I was hoping over this Christmas period to make a start on constructing the landform. I've got some sculptor mould, trying to get some plaster cloth on order at the moment, and I was going to pop out and get some insulation board so I can start to obviously construct the landform. But unfortunately, down here in Surrey, we are in tier 4, so I'm not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. So unfortunately, that delays the start of that project for a little bit longer. However, really excited about this project and getting my first bit of greenery on the layout. And I think this will be a very nice place to start. As again, I'll throw up some images there just as a recap of what the area looks like. And one of the things that I'm looking to do, as I've mentioned in previous videos, is this area here will primarily be a rural scene. It will form a scenic break between the main layout and the heritage station. You can actually just see there either side of the 250s there's a couple of tunnel portals that are sitting there, so that tunnel portal will form the scenic break between the mainline layout and the heritage station. So this whole area here will be obviously covered in sort of hillside, trees, etc., and all a very sort of green area, and that will again run down here into the foreground. And then as it comes a bit forward, and you'll see this grey section here. The reason this is still grey is because this area of the baseboard is actually going to be cut out. It's then going to be dropped, and there's going to be a canal scene which is going to run underneath the main lines, as well as the sort of branch line, as it were, that comes off the main line and into the heritage station. So there'll be a canal that runs underneath the main line, and also the heritage line that comes out of this section here. So that's going to be objective number one for next year. I'm not going to look too far beyond that just yet, because I do this every year. I make a plan, I stick it up on the wall here, and I say, right, I'm going to do this in Q1, do this in Q2, and by the end of the year I want to have achieved this. But unfortunately it never works out like that. There's always something in life, as we all know, that gets in the way and sort of slows down our progress. So I'm literally just going to do it in sort of baby steps this next year. Focus on this area of the layout first and get it done to a point, as I say, that I'm happy that I have a scenic area of the layout, you know, a nice area that I can take some lovely photos and videos of, you know, the trains sort of coming through a nice sort of rural area of the layout. As I will make hopefully for some nice videos and images, obviously, which I'll be posting on the various formats of social media once the project is complete. Once that is complete, and again, I'm not putting any deadline on that, it will get done when it gets done, but when that is complete, I'm now going to move obviously to the other side of my up to this other shoulder here and start working on the heritage station. So in regards to the heritage station, as I say, the track is down. I've got 2/3 of the back seam board done now. I've just got to finish the sort of final third. So I will continue to complete the back seam board whilst I'm carrying out this scenic project here, so that once this is done, there's no delay then with moving on to scenery onto the heritage station, which I believe will probably start with the construction of the station platforms, and then we'll start adding some more scenery into that area there. So all being well, this time next year, hopefully we've got one completed scenic area here, and then we're progressing very well with the heritage station. But what this does mean, however, is the main layout, of course, is going to be neglected for the majority of 2021. Now, I've had a little bit of a change of heart over recent months in terms of what I'm going to do with the main layout. As most of you probably are well aware from previous videos, the intention was always to do a representation of Newton Abbot station on the Riviera line. However, I'm now considering moving away from that idea. You know, I still want the layout to be a representation of, you know, southwest of England, you know, on the Great Western Line. That's not going to change, you know, and I still see the heritage line as being a representation of Buckfastleigh. But with regards to the main layout and the main station, I'm probably going to move away from the Newton Abbot representation and just do something original. So I'm not looking to do a representation of a station. hopefully will have some of the Great Western characteristics about it, so you can still get the feel that it is a Great Western station down on the Riviera line. But I'm going to move away from the representation of Newton Abbot, do something a bit more original, and yeah, make a few changes in terms of how the track is running into the station, perhaps introduce maybe some additional sidings which could act as a branch line, and I may even have, operating out of one of those branch lines at the far end of the layout, I may have or introduce almost like a shuttle where I basically sort of cut a hole out at one end of the back seam, just to extend the baseboard out a little bit, just so I can perhaps insert a tunnel, and we can have maybe some sort of 2-3 car multiple units, literally just leaving the branch line, going out through a tunnel almost off the layout basically, and then maybe sort of running on for an additional yard or two before sort of coming back in. And that might be something, you know, at some point, being a DCC layout, that I might be able to sort of program and just have those multiple units just doing back and forth movements on that branch line. So that's potentially what I'm going to be looking at for the main line now, and particularly the station area. But as I say, there'll be no progress on that in 2021. My focus will be firmly on this scenic area here, I say, which will provide a nice break from the heritage station to the main line, but also provide me with an area where I can make some produce some nice photos and running footage on the layout, rather than just seeing trains running on bare baseboard or cork, as has been the case for the last couple of years. So anyway, I think I've waffled on for too long now, but I really wanted to just sort of jump on camera and, as it's been a while, just sort of jump on and give you guys a bit of a recap in terms of what's happening over the past year, what I'm looking forward to sort of getting my teeth into in 2021, and hopefully 2021 turns out to be a better year for us all. Hopefully, you know, it certainly can't get much worse than what we've experienced, but yes, hopefully there is some positive news on the horizon, a bit more optimism in terms of getting ourselves back to normality in 2021, and who knows, perhaps late spring, summer, even in the autumn, you know, we might be in a position where we can return to doing the things we love, like attending model railway exhibitions, and then hopefully I might get the opportunity to get out there and see some of you in the flesh once again. You know, I always do enjoy going along to model railway exhibitions, and you know, getting to meet up with sort of fellow YouTubers or just model railway enthusiasts who follow the channel. It's always good to catch up and talk railways, of course. So hopefully I'll be back on the channel early in the new year with another update on the layout. So until then, all it leaves me to say really is I do wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a very happy and prosperous 2021. Hope you all stay safe and well, and I know this is going to be a Christmas like no other, but I hope you do manage to enjoy it as best you can. And again, I look forward to catching up with you all in the new year. So take care and bye for now.